I spoke at 2 events last year in person, which definitely made me 20 grand. And it cost me about 2 grand to get to those events, spend some time there, etc. But I also got a lot out going to those events. I spoke at those events for free, by the way. I then spoke at an event that paid me £100 and I booked 5 sales calls after that. So that was amazing. And I wasn't even expecting my ideal customer to be in the room. There's a reason that I was able to get those opportunities and I want to share that with you. But first, why should you consider speaking? Well, when you're trying to scale, it's way more important that you look like an expert, act like an expert, etc. The reason that's important is because it becomes harder to spend the time warming people up. So we will actually want to warm people up quicker so that we're not spending too much time in the conversion kind of space. It just boosts our credibility, which means that we can charge more. How are you going to get speaking opportunities? I first and foremost want you to do 3 things. You're gonna make a list of all the places that you want to speak and you're gonna think outside the box. So don't just go for the big events when you've not started a speaking career yet. Go for all of the events, so even the small ones. Then make a list of influencers, any influencers or industry leaders in your niche or even small competitors, and see where they're speaking and then put those places on your list. If they're speaking there, then that's what you want to aspire to as well. But also, if you know who those influencers are, you can check out whether they've got group programs or memberships or something where you can actually pitch yourself into their group as a fellow in the industry. Some competitors will let you do this, some will not. It all depends on how they do business. I have had competitors let me do that and I've made money off the back of it, so I am very, very grateful to those people. I also want you to make a list of event organizers, because there are actual people that sit behind these events. They book the speakers, they manage the admin. You don't just want to go for the front man of these events, because obviously, if an event organizer comes across you, they might pitch you that can work in your favor. So we really want to get into the communities of all these people that are organizing these events. You've now got your list, and you've got your list of events, you've got your list of influencers, and you've got your list of people. What are you going to do with the list? The first step is you are going to engage with all of those people. So you're going to connect with them on the social media platforms that you're connected to, and you're going to start to engage with their content, because you want them to see that you exist and see your content to obviously think of you for their event. This is really, really important. What I would recommend is that you put them onto an engagement list of some kind where you go in every week and you keep on top of their content, or you could put on notifications depending on the social media platform that you're on. So on LinkedIn, you can ring the bell, on Instagram, you can do other things, for Facebook, you can do other things. Make sure that their posts always come up and then you can engage. So if you get notifications on your phone, you can be the first one to comment, like, whatever. Now, the second thing is I want you to be a bit ballsy and send them a message. So I'm not suggesting that you pitch to them at this stage. I just want you to start a conversation with them and get into their network. You might get them, if they're a big influencer, you might get their appointment setter or, you know, an admin that works for them, but just start a conversation to let them know that you exist. Don't expect anything from them at this stage. Again, you're just wanting to start to cultivate some kind of relationship. Step 3 is the pitch, but there's something I want you to do before you actually pitch to them. I want you to go to their website, check out their post, check out their information, and just make sure that they don't have some kind of criteria or application form for their event. Because if they do, then you absolutely have to use this method of application. So you should check out their criteria. If you don't meet it, you can still apply, but you're obviously going to point out the fact that you don't apply to that criteria and why you still might be a good option. So you need to put a really good argument forward. But what I don't want you to do is to ignore their application forms or ignore the criteria, because that is frustrating for them on the other side. If they've said you need to have a book out and you need to have a YouTube channel so they know you're serious and you don't have it, then I recommend that you go to a different event, but also just get in front of those people still. So still keep engaging with them, but just maybe send them a message and say, you know, I was thinking of applying for the event to speak at it, but I don't actually have these things in place yet. So I'm going to go away, I'm going to put this in place, and I'm going to come back to you. Show that you're really, really passionate about their brand and their event and being a great speaker. So if they do have a website and an application form, I want you to look at it and I want you to take it seriously. Don't just send off random applications without being thoughtful, because you'll just them off and then they're not going to book you to speak. They want people who are easy to work with, people who listen, and people who are going to do a good job. While we are here, don't forget I have got this playlist which is lots of videos about how to scale your business using different tools and different methods. So there's how to scale your business on LinkedIn, how to scale your business on Instagram, how to build a funnel, all the things that can get you to multiple 6 figures as a service provider. So check that out. Also, if they say on their application that you need to upload a video of you speaking, then I suggest that you go and speak at an event, a smaller one, video it for yourself or get a videographer to video it for you and then send them the raw video. They don't want to see these kind of like highlights, etc. They would prefer to see the full article. Make sure that if you're going to video yourself at an event so that you can pitch to other events, that you do a really good job, you've got a really good talk and it's your best work. So once you've checked whether they've got an application form, if they don't have one, then you can pitch to them. It's up to you how you do this, but this is how I do it. I will send them a message and say, I would love to become a speaker for you. I want to send you some more information about me, what I can deliver for you, as well as some videos. Are you open to that? So I don't just slap them with a pitch, I actually just start a conversation. So I will follow them, I'll engage with them, and then I will take them through a process where I'm like, hey, I'd love to give you this. Do you mind if I send this across? Let them say no. They might direct you to a website or an application form. They may say, yeah, that's fine, we're not taking speakers at the minute, but we'll keep it for you. At which point you can say, okay, when does that open? And you can send it at the relevant time so it doesn't get lost. Or if they say yes, you can send them some information. What I would suggest is that you send them something really snazzy. So you're gonna want like a reel which has the highlights of you speaking, or testimonials that shows what people thought of your talk. So anything like that that you can put in is going to be really helpful. You want to share references of other people that have asked you to speak and other people that have trusted you with their audiences, or masterclasses that you've done. So show your speaking experience, whatever that looks like. And the way that I like to do this is I like to pull it all together into a pitch deck. I put together a presentation where it's got clickable links that they can view the presentation and they can say, okay, here's some testimonials. Here's a few kind of highlights of her speaking at different events. Here's a raw video of her speaking, completely unfiltered, like this is what she's got to give. In doing that, they have all the information they need to make a decision about you. I would also give them 3 topics that you can talk about. And we really want to make sure that those topics are relevant to that event. So do your homework, check what they're about, check what kind of speakers they're looking for, check who they've had in the past, and try and find an interesting angle. If you are just pushing the same thing as everybody else, then you're not going to stand out. So if you can find some kind of interesting angle, some kind of interesting story that's really compelling, obviously they are more likely to book you. And I promise you, if you do this, you will make money. Now, there's one thing that I really just want to talk about, which is a bit controversial. There's a lot of talk, particularly on LinkedIn at the minute, that you should charge people to speak at their events. And I fundamentally disagree. I had someone let me speak at their events. I think the first time there was maybe like 20 people, I think. The second time there was, I don't know how many people, maybe 40. They let me borrow their audience. They had been building that audience for 2 years. They had been building up their LinkedIn, gathering followers, putting the effort in, getting people into a group program, and they gave me their audience. So who was I, with a mere 3,000 followers, to come along and say, yeah, I'll speak for you, but I want 500 quid for the pleasure? They would have said no, because they had a big group of people that were absolutely dying to speak at that event, and I was asked. So I just jumped at the chance. I was like, yeah, I'll borrow your audience. Yes, I can coach those people. Yes, they're my ideal client. And I was so grateful. And it actually cost me roughly between 800 and £1,000 to get to those events and be at those events. But I turned that into 20 grand by being present, by speaking to everyone there, by networking, by following up with people, and by just being in the room and giving them value. So I gave them lots of value. I didn't even share a lead magnet or a freebie or anything, because I was being respectful to that group and I didn't want to actively sell in that group, but it still turned into cash. Lots of people are going to tell you to charge for speaking. That's a really great strategy. If that's what you want to do, that is fine. However, do it with caution, because if you whack a charge on it, they are likely to probably go with someone that's free, because events typically don't make any money. So my events don't make any money, and I ask people to speak if they want exposure. I don't actually need speakers at my event. It's not that kind of event. So if someone says, yes, I'll speak, but it's 500 quid, it's actually costing me to get that person in the room. So unless they've got a large following or kind of a message that I want my clients to pay for, I'm just not going to book those people at this stage in my journey. And I know a lot of other people feel the same. I also think of it like this. If I wanted to advertise in a magazine, surely I would have to pay to advertise, because they have built up this subscription of people. This is exactly the same for people building their businesses that have built followings. Why on earth should they pay you to speak? You have to be able to give them something. Some events will pay you, and I have been paid to speak where they've said that they've got budget. Other events I've cut the charge right down where they've been social enterprises, or where my ideal customer is not in the room, so it's not actually beneficial for me, or I've spoken for free. That's pretty much it. If they've got something on the table and my ideal customer is in the room, I'm gonna take the opportunity. I do not believe that we should all be whacking charges on for speaking. If you can't afford to speak at an event, then you either want to see it as an investment or it's just not the right strategy for you yet. But don't be afraid to speak for free, and think about what's in it for you, whether it's the right audience, and also whether that person will let you sell into that group. At least half of my revenue has come off the back of speaking at events or guest masterclassing, a lot of which have been free. But also a secret tip when you are speaking at an event, it really pays to have a lead magnet in place. So if you have a lead magnet, you can share a QR code on the screen or a website, and you can send them to a quiz or a video sales letter or a freebie or a template or some kind of download which warms them up and gets you into their gets them into your funnel. What am I saying? So definitely think it through when you're speaking as to where you want them to go next.